guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is about getting customers, and if only it was that easy. I get so many questions on how I get so many orders, how I attract customers, and basically this video is me breaking it down into different topics. And I just want to quickly put a little disclaimer, because as much as I do get a lot of these messages, some people, including me, will do things subconsciously and they're not necessarily doing anything in particular. Some people really try to get customers, and some people it comes naturally. So I can't guarantee that by doing these things you will get customers. Unfortunately, some people grow more than others. I'm not saying that that is to dishearten people and to not kind of put the work into your business. That is completely not what I'm saying. But just don't blame anyone in general for any advice that they might give if it doesn't work, because unfortunately sometimes it is just luck of the draw, and some people will be attracted to certain like cakes, anything like that, and you haven't necessarily done anything in particular. But that being said, I have managed to break it down into 5 different things. I have my notes here, and hopefully this will help some of you, even if you just take elements of it and practice that and put it into your business plan. Hopefully it will make a difference, and at least even if it answers a few of your questions regarding how to get customers, then that might save you guys having to discuss it with me over messages. It might just answer some of those questions. So yeah, we're going to get right into it, and we're going to go through these 5 different topics that I have broken it down to. And yeah, like I say, hopefully it helps some of you get some more orders. So I've managed to split it into 5 things. These 5 things are social media, the service, so this is your service, so whether it's good service, bad service. Then there's personality, which is relating to you, and also if you have employees then it will include them as well. I don't have any employees, so it is just relating to me. Then there is having a business plan, and then there is your work in particular. So we're going to start with social media. I think, especially as I think I'm a millennial, I'm not really sure. I'm 1999, so I'm right on the brink of Gen Z, but I'm kind of in the middle somewhere, and I think that social media is so important for any business. Unfortunately, as much as word of mouth is very good, social media is very, very important in the current day and age, especially at the moment when you can't go out anywhere or meet up with anyone. A lot of people are spending a lot of time on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube. And all of those things are profiles that I have, and I started TikTok because I found that it was a very popular outlet, and Instagram has become very, very popular with its new features. So we're gonna break this down slightly. I've put them all into bullet points, so hopefully it's easy for people to understand. But firstly, you need to be on social media. I don't particularly use social media. I have an Instagram account which I have for personal use, but apart from that, that is the only social media I have for myself. Everything else is for business. My Facebook account, it's literally so that I can use my business Facebook page, and I don't use it for personal use, like I say. So even if you don't like social media, I still think that you should have it for your business, because it is a way of getting your name out, getting your work out, whether it's photos, videos, word posts. It can literally be anything, but it is a way for people to find you, and it can also be anywhere in the world, anywhere in the UK. That's how my postals got about, because I don't go and visit people in Scotland or in Manchester. They find me from social media, they find me from Etsy, so it's a way of getting people further away to find you. So number 1 is post lots. As annoying as it is, as time consuming as it is, if you know the algorithm and the way it works, someone can see one of your posts, and these people can be following you. They can see one of your posts and then they won't see any of your posts for a week. It's just the way the algorithm works. It's very annoying, but sometimes people see them, sometimes people don't, especially considering they are now not in numerical order. So I don't know what the word is, I can't think of it, but timescale. So I can post something this morning and it can appear at the top of someone's feed, and then you can post something 5 minutes ago and it won't appear for 2 days. So it's very confusing the way the algorithm is, but it basically means that you need to be posting lots so that people are seeing you at different times, so that you're coming up. You also need to be using different outlets, so things like Reels, IGTVs. I use stories because a lot of people view my stories and not all of those people like my photos. So I find that it's a way of one, promoting your post, so you can repost your post to your story, and also any like announcements that I need to make. If I've made it in a post and it hasn't got much attraction, then I always put it on my story, because people watch those, they're quick, they're easy to find. Again, if they don't see your post, then they might see your story. So it's another way of getting people to see your profile. Then you want to be posting unique things, because I scroll through my explore page and the amount of times I look through there and I'm like, this could all be the same person, but you click on it and it's definitely not, but they look so similar. You want to try and give yourself a little bit of uniqueness, even if it's uniqueness in your area, because it is, with such a like highly saturated market, it's really difficult to be unique when there are so many bakers. So you either want to find your niche, find your style, which is, I try to find my own niche and find my own style, and I kind of hope that I do. I think I do, especially with brownies, but in terms of cakes, it's very difficult because so many people do similar designs, but I still try to think that mine are different from other people's, at least in my area they are. So you want to try and be as unique as possible, because then someone is going to say, wow, that's something different, that's something I've never seen. So then they're going to want to follow you, they might want to order, etc. So it kind of ends up developing into more. It might just be a liked post, but then if they regularly see that you're posting cool and interesting things, then they're going to want to maybe order from you, or at least pass you on to someone else. I sometimes see really cool bakers and I think, wow, that is amazing, I'd love to order one of those, and I mention it to a friend or mention it to family, and then they might end up ordering. So again, it's word of mouth, but it's also partly done by social media and what you see on social media. Then there is post at good times. Because of the whole algorithm, it's very difficult to post at good times, but you also want to slightly think about, in terms of like stories, I would say, you don't want to be posting a story at midnight, because no one in your area or in the UK that is in the same time zone is going to see it. So if you're aiming your Mother's Day release of your treat boxes at your local area and you post it at 1 AM, then they're probably not going to see it. Whereas if you're aiming it at postals and you post like worldwide, then you could post it at 1 AM and someone would see it in a different country and it wouldn't matter about the time zone, because you're posting worldwide. But in terms of baking, it's usually locally, which means that they're in the same time zone, which means if you're sat there thinking, well, I don't look at posts while I'm sat eating dinner, or I don't look at posts at 9 PM because the TV programmes are on, I don't look at anything at 8 AM because I'm getting ready for work in the morning, then it's likely that other people are going to be doing exactly that. So you want to consider that when you're posting. It also comes into it whether you have time, because sometimes I don't have time, so I just try and post it when it's possible, but I still try and consider whether it is a good time to post it. So like, if it's 11 PM at night, I'll think, well, I haven't had time to post it today, but I'll save it for tomorrow, and that's exactly what I do. So in terms of social media, that is what I would say on that. Post lots, try and be unique, and be very active. That's not just your posting, that's also liking other people's, replying to messages. In terms of inquiries on social media, you want to try and reply as soon as possible. Again, it is very difficult if you're busy, and the admin side of baking is something that people don't talk about too much, but it does take up a lot of time. You can spend 2 hours discussing a cake with someone and they decide not to order. So you do have to consider whether something is going to be turning into an order, because you want to prioritize your time. So if you're doing an order and it seems like those messages are a waste of time or they can wait, then obviously prioritize what you're doing. But I would say try and reply to things as soon as possible, because there are some messages where I think to myself, I did not realize that that was going to turn to an order, and it did. So I'm glad that I replied as soon as I did. I try and reply, even if it's just a short reply, saying like basic pricing and saying that I'll get back to them later tonight. It's something so that they don't feel like they're being ignored, and then if they want a cake from you, then they'll think, you know what, I'll wait before I go to someone else because I really like her work. So it just reassures someone that you're not ignoring them or you're not too busy to answer them. So yeah, at least try and give some kind of time frame, like I'll reply to you tomorrow morning, sorry I'm really busy, blah blah blah, you know. So give something, because then it gives them a bit of reassurance. So the next one is service, which kind of leads on to replying to messages, how you kind of put yourself out there and your responses to people, because it is so surprising who people know. The amount of people that come to me for bakes, and also like family members who know people that have ordered, and they say, oh my god, this person ordered from you the other day, I know them from playgroup, they're one of the mums. And I think, I did not know that. Like, say I had treated them badly, that could have got back to my sister-in-law and she would have said, oh, that was my friend from playgroup. Like, it is so surprising who knows who, so you definitely want to try and be professional with everyone, because word of mouth is so important. If someone says something bad about you to all of their friends, then it can really affect them ordering from you, and then everyone that they know and everyone that they know, and it just spirals. So it's definitely important to be professional at all times and be aware that everyone knows everyone. So, one, provide a good service. Even if something goes wrong, always try and rectify it, because that then affects how you get customers in the future. So just in general, when you do have orders, whether it's a small amount or a large amount, you always want to make sure that you're not having any bad reviews. If you do get bad reviews, try and rectify it, see what was wrong. If it was something that is out of your hands, or it's something that couldn't be fixed / wasn't your fault, or it was just a kind of, not silly, but maybe that's kind of the word, but you might get the odd silly review where you think, you know, that is just nitpicking and it's not your fault, then you might not think to rectify that, and if it doesn't need an answer, then don't give it one. But there are definitely situations where it might seem a good idea to just leave it, but sometimes if you rectify it, then they might come back and be a returning customer. So there's that, providing good service, like following up on any issues. Then there is also having a positive customer base. So this is again in the review kind of section, where you're making sure that customers are happy, then they might come back. I have a lot of returning postal customers, and they've bought from me 4 or 5 times now in the past couple of months. So they're buying, you know, every couple of weeks, and they've clearly had a good service. They clearly liked the brownies or blondies, and they're happy with the postal times and all of that. And yeah, I've never had a bad review in terms of postals, so I am happy that I've got a positive customer base and all of that, so I don't need to change anything. But if you were to get a bad review back, then you can sit there and go, right, I might change this, that and the other. So yeah, you want to try and create a positive customer base, because that's going to make you feel good, because you've always got nice customers that are enjoying their bakes, and then it also makes them feel good. Then they're going to talk about you to their friends and family, and then hopefully that will get you more customers. Then there's encouraging reviews and word of mouth. So if you don't already, or if they don't do it on their own accord, because a lot of mine do it on their own accord, which is part of the having a positive customer base, because if you provide a positive service and people like it enough, they will write a review without you having to prompt them at all. So that's always nice, because sometimes I get reviews and I think, wow, you know, you ordered from me 2 weeks ago and I had the odd photo, but I didn't realise you were going to write a review, and you have, and it's lovely. And it's nice when you don't necessarily have to ask, because then you know that it's genuine. They're not just writing it because you asked and they want to keep you happy. So yeah, that's always nice. But also word of mouth. So like if any family members have it, especially if you're just starting out, if any family members or friends have anything off of you, whether it is just to try or they pay for it, it's always good to try and get reviews off them. For one, either on your Facebook page, on Instagram stories, you can add it as highlights, which is what I do for reviews on there. And then you can also try and get them to promote it to their friends, so whether that's sharing your page to their friends who then may come and buy from you, or whether it's just telling their family and friends, wow, I had this cake the other day for my birthday and it was amazing. If you've got a birthday coming up, definitely consider her. So it's just nice to have that promotion from people other than yourself as well, because then it makes it look like you provide a good service, because your customers are speaking for you rather than you doing it. Because I could have no customers and I could have never sold a thing, but I could tell everyone I make amazing cakes, but they're not necessarily going to believe it. Whereas if all your customers are saying it, then they know that it's genuine, it's not coming from the owner, it's from someone that's actually had an order from you. So the next thing is number 3, which is personality. This comes into it a lot, and as much as you may be a reserved person, I think it is good to be out of your shell when it comes to running a business. It really does help, especially like confidence. So in terms of this, I've put just a few things which I think are more kind of achievable for people, because I am completely aware that not everyone is as like outgoing as I am, as chatty as I am, which does help me because I can talk to anyone. So it just makes it a lot easier in terms of chatting to customers that I have, you know, I don't know them at all. But I completely understand that for some people that might be nerve-wracking and it's scary to get your first order or your first few. So these things can be done kind of as a mask. They don't have to necessarily be proper traits. You can put these on. So one is be approachable, so always try and be as helpful as possible. This is something that even if you are the shyest person ever, you can still be approachable, and it basically means that when someone messages you, you're always happy to help. It's in terms of your responses, how you word things when customers inquire, changing wording slightly so that it seems more formal but also more relatable, because I'm formal in my messages but I am also chatting as if I'm talking to a friend, so it makes them feel like they're not just talking to a robot or this professional person, that they're just trying to have a conversation with me to discuss an order. They want to say, I want to do this, I want to do this, what's your view on it? And I'm not saying, right, tick these boxes and come back to me. So I think it's nice to be approachable, to be helpful, and also to be creative. I think this is so important, because the amount of people that come to me, and you will get it, you'll get some people that will know exactly what they want, but you'll also get people that do not know what they want at all, and they might just say, right, it's a 15th birthday party. And I had this one a few weeks ago. She said it's a 15th birthday for my daughter and she likes horses, and I was thinking, what do I do with that? And I went and got some inspiration. I looked at various different cakes and I said, we can take elements from this, we can take elements from this. What do you think about that? And I said, what's her favourite colour? What sort of things do you like in terms of, like, do you want cake toppers? Do you like covered boards? I said elements of things, and then she gave me all her answers, and then I went back to her and said, right, this is what I'm planning to do. Are you happy with this? And she was like, wow, there's so much to consider, but I absolutely love that idea, thank you. And then when she got it, she was like, wow, this turned out beautifully. And it's because I was creative and I kind of took the lead, which is always nice for someone that doesn't know what they want, because when they're sat there going, I want a cake but I have no idea how to tell you what I want because I don't know, it's then your kind of responsibility to go, right, here's the options that I can do for you, this is what I think would look good, what's your opinion? And then they will either say I absolutely love it or I don't. So I think it's very, very helpful to be creative and to come up with lots of ideas. You can take ideas from Pinterest and things, because as long as you're not copying a design, then you aren't stealing someone's design. You can take elements, because if you think about it, someone that has a striped drip cake is copying the other person that makes striped drip cakes. So as long as you're not copying a whole design, you can take elements from something. You can say, I'm taking those stripes, I'm taking that drip, I'm taking the toppings on that, I'm taking the font of the cake topper that they've used. You can take elements and pull them together and create something that is amazing without necessarily copying someone's design. The next thing is follow up on orders for feedback, which relates to the reviews, because I think this is quite a reassuring thing for customers, because you can do it in a way that doesn't sound like you want a review straight away. So you can message a customer and you can say, hello, hope your daughter or you or your husband, whoever it was, had a lovely birthday or anniversary or whatever the order was for. And then you can say, I just wanted to check that everything was okay with the cake. I wanted to see whether you wanted to leave some feedback. It's completely up to you. You don't have to take the time to write a review, but if you do, I'd really appreciate it. If there's any feedback you want to give me in regards to anything that I could do better, then please do. And then they might come back to you and it's more of a conversation rather than just saying, hi, can you write a review on my Facebook page? Because that's just kind of a command. Whereas if you're sending a message like that, you're sending them a conversation starter, which then they might go, wow, I loved it, everyone else loved it, I don't have any cons to it, there was nothing wrong with it at all, I'll be ordering my birthday cake for myself in a few months because I loved it that much. It just starts a conversation, which is nice. It builds that relationship with them for you. So I think it's really good to be approachable and be able to have those conversations with customers. I sometimes have really long conversations with people when it comes to taking an order or also getting feedback, and although it takes time, personally I really enjoy it. It's part of the job that I think, you know, it's a plus because you're getting praise for your work, and it's also nice to get feedback, especially when it's good feedback. So yeah, I think it's really important to have that like nice relationship with your customers where you can get feedback and they're obviously happy with the order, and if they're not, then you can try and rectify that, and then that might leave them happy even if they weren't necessarily happy originally. Then the last thing I would say, which is so important, which I see that it's lacking with a lot of, this is just my personal opinion, but it's lacking with a lot of the new bakers that are coming from lockdown, is the passion for baking. I think it is so important. If you don't like any job, no matter what it is, I liked, one, the money, and two, the routine of my accounting job, but I didn't actually like the work that I was doing. I didn't feel like it was actually having an impact. It has an impact on the business you're working for or the council that you're working for, but I feel like when I make cakes, it makes someone's day, it makes someone's birthday amazing. You know, it can almost fix anything if you think about it, and I just think it's such a nice positive thing to do. And although some people might see it as like, well, you're not actually making a difference in terms of doing something, you know, for the world, but it can make someone's day so much better, and I just think of it like that. And if you don't enjoy your job to the... Sorry, my camera cut out, so I'm not sure where I got to, but as I was saying, if you don't enjoy your job, how do you expect to do it for the rest of your life? Like, I can literally see myself opening a shop, teaching kids how to bake in classes, like that is my absolute dream, and like maybe having my kids go to those classes. But if you don't have that passion for it, then your customers are going to see that. Like, as honest as that is how it works. Like, my customers see how much I enjoy making their cakes and various other things. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of my customers probably see these videos, and I think that they see how much I enjoy it. I'm not saying start a YouTube channel, but I just mean enjoy your work, because it really does make a difference. One, for your mood and for your work, because as soon as you start enjoying your work, you're going to want to put more time into it. Whether it's cakes, you're going to put more effort and time into them, and then they're going to come out better. Whereas if you're rushing them because you're not interested, or you're doing it as a form of income but it's not actually what you want to do, then that's going to be reflected in your work and how good it is and how much practice you put in and how many times you test recipes, things like that. Like, if you don't enjoy a job, you're not going to want to do hours of admin and hours of testing new recipes, getting new flavours on the menu, trying new designs. You're not going to want to do that, because you're going to think, well, I don't want to spend my free time doing that because it's not my working hours. I'm not doing orders. I'm just doing, you know, promos and trying new recipes. It's not actually an order for someone that's paying. So sometimes that can then make you think, well, I'll rather sit in front of the TV. Like, I don't want to be doing that. So if you don't have that passion there, then eventually it's going to be reflected in your work, and it's also then in turn going to make you not want to do all the extra things that come into it, because what people don't tell you is that being a baker is a lot more than just baking cakes. There is admin, there is accounts, there is filing. You are literally every part of a business in yourself. You're the credit controller, you are the accountant, you are the admin lady, you're the receptionist that answers emails and phone calls, and you're also the person that actually makes the cakes. Like, it's everything. And if you don't, you cannot enjoy certain parts of it, that is completely fine. There are people that don't enjoy the account side, but if you don't enjoy the whole job in general, if it is just a formality for you, then it definitely is going to be difficult for you to pursue it as a long-term thing, and also to put your all into it, which I think is so important for any business, whether it is a bakery, whether it's, you know, starting a shop, like a clothing shop, or, you know, being a, I don't know, in construction. Any type of business that you start, you have to have some kind of interest, and as soon as you do, then usually it skyrockets, and that in turn gets you that work, because people can see that from the amount of effort you put in. But moving on from that, because I don't want to rant about it, but I think it is so important, we are going to be talking about number 4, which is plan. It's your business plan. It doesn't have to be a formal written piece of paper. It can literally be a note on a notepad like this. It can be, you know, a scribble. Doesn't have to be anything formal, but you just need to have an outline of what you want from the business, your customer base, what you plan to make. You need to plan out your pricing, because this is another thing that people don't realise gets you customers. One, you don't want to be too cheap, and you also don't want to be too expensive. There is a very fine line between the two. You can be cheap for your skill set, and you can be cheap for a higher skill set or a lower skill set, and then there's also the expensive side of that. So it's all based on you as an individual, and unfortunately, sorry, I'm getting a dead leg, unfortunately you can't rely on anyone else to tell you your pricing, which is why I did that pricing video. So if you haven't watched that, I will tick it up above, but it kind of tells you that it's all individual. You need to work out your costs, you need to work out your hourly rate, your expenses. So if you're renting, so you know, you're renting for the premises, your electric, all of that, you need to work all of that out for yourself, because it will vary between the person. And also skill set, because if you've just started out, which like I did last year, my pricing was a little bit lower than it is now, and that's because my skill set wasn't as good. And then now I've gradually upped it as my skill set has got better, and then I'm also going to be upping it in April because it's a new tax year. So I'm then going to be upping it, redoing all my price list, and it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it is reflected in my work and, you know, the quality of it, and the customers know that because it's good work, they're giving good reviews. So I'm happy to say, right, I think my work is at the point where I can then up it. So I think it is so important to get your pricing right, and you also don't want it to look like you're cheap for a reason or you're expensive for a reason, because again, there are two sides of it. If people think you're too cheap, one, it looks a little bit like desperation, as horrible as that sounds, because if you want orders, then you're going to lower your prices because you think, well, it's cheap, someone's going to buy it because it's cheap. But sometimes that sends alarm bells to people, and they think, why is this so cheap? Because you know, other people are selling brownie boxes for £15. Why is this person only a £5? How are they actually paying to make this item? Because I look at it and I say the exact same thing. You know, I might look at a certain thing and I think, how are they getting their profit? How are they getting an hourly rate out of that? Are they literally just getting ingredient costs? Because sometimes it doesn't look like it's covered, and if I think that and I know how to charge an hourly rate and everything like that, then it could be that customers see that and then they're put off. Because I found this myself, like I have done this in the past. Even before I was a baker, you would look at certain things and you think, you know, why is that £15 for a professional cake and then someone else is charging 70? Why is there such a difference? And it can be because they're not registered, it can be because you're not paying insurance every month, because they all add up, and then if you're paying those things, then you're going to need to charge people more because you need to make your money back for those things like insurance and your monthly costs. So, and it's also things like the ingredients you're using, the materials you're using, whether they're more expensive or whether you're buying cheap ingredients from cheap places. That's also going to make your bakes less costly. So there's so many things that come into it, but pricing is very important because it can either put someone off or it can make them have trust in you, because they can think, right, I've gone to a few bakers, she is the best price for what I'm getting, her work might be better, but I'm getting it for a reasonable price still, it's not overly priced, and it's also not very cheap. So it just gives people that reassurance that they're going to get something good and they're also getting it for a reasonable price. People are happy to pay an hourly rate. You know, I have people that will pay £80 for a cake, and you know, some people might look at that and say that's expensive, but they're happy to pay an hourly rate for that because that includes my hourly rate, that includes the ingredients, it includes all of the time and money that I put into the order. So yeah, there are so many people that think that people won't pay it, but they will, someone will. And yeah, it's just so important to get your pricing right. But that is a whole nother video, and I did one on that. So yeah, if you want to know more about pricing, go and check that out, because that gives you a full breakdown of how I work out my pricing and just like tips and tricks for it as well. So the next thing is having giveaways, deals and offers. So again, you don't want to have them too often because people are going to think, why is she always on sale? Why is she always doing giveaways? And you will end up being out of pocket for doing that. But you also want to do it for like maybe milestones. So like if you hit 3k subscribers or You know, like some people do it for every 10k. So on Instagram I see a lot of people where they hit 10k, they do a giveaway, they hit 15, they do a giveaway, because it is a big milestone. So it's kind of like a celebration, and their followers want to celebrate with them because they're all congratulating them, saying, you know, amazing, it's so well deserved, all of that. And then you go, right, well, here's me giving back, here is a giveaway, and you can enter. It also brings you more followers, more kind of like reach, because people are sharing your posts. So again, you want to pick to do them at the right time, because if you pick the wrong time, then you can just end up giving away free stuff and not getting anything back. So you do have to plan it out very well. But if you want to hear more about that, then maybe I'll go over it again in detail in another video. And also I would say with offers, I would do it for occasions. So I occasionally, if I, like, not every month, but if I think, you know what, I've got a few spaces at the end of this month, I'll do a payday sale where I do payday sales on the postals, and I think, you know what, I've got a bit of free time, that might attract some more buyers, and I do that. It does well, but I don't do it every month, because then people are going to think, well, why is she doing it every month? And also it makes people wait, because if they think you're doing it at the end of every month, then they won't buy throughout the month and they'll wait until the end. So you also don't want to promote that if it's too regular. But also occasions, so like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, I don't think there's any others, Halloween. You can do a little like pre-sale for those, so you can say, you know, if you order early, you get 10% off, but if you order after this date, then you're paying full price. Again, that attracts people to buy early. It again gets you a bit of reach. So you just have to plan it correctly and kind of put some thought into it before you do it. Don't just do regular giveaways and sales, which I'm not saying that people do, but I do occasionally see the occasional account where they're doing them very regularly, and I hope that this is useful, you know, doing it that regular, because I would say that sometimes it can just, like, everyone likes free things, as like blunt as that sounds. So if you're always doing giveaways, people are of course going to enter, but you want to make sure that they're then going to maybe buy something from you later in the year or in the month, whenever you're doing it. So yeah, just be careful with giveaways and offers, because sometimes it might promote the wrong kind of attention if people are just using it to get lots of free things. Then you have a plan about business growth. So I mentioned this previously, but you just want to know where you want your business to go, a rough time schedule. So, you know, I think to myself, in however many years I'd like to have a shop, in however many years I'd like to be moving out, I'd like to have my own home. Like, I have a whole plan. It doesn't matter if I don't stick to that plan. I'm not gonna, you know, cry over it, but I do want to have a rough plan that you can work towards, and you can think, right, my savings are gonna go towards a shop, my savings are gonna go towards, you know, a pop-up event. You can plan out your growth of your business and where you want to be. And yeah, I just think it's helpful to know where you want the business to go, especially like with any business, you want to have a rough idea of what you want to get from it. So there's that, having a business plan, and then there's also setting goals. Like I say, having rough time schedules, saying, you know, my aim would be to have 2 more employees by the end of next year. You know, you want to expand the team, all of that. So you want to have a rough idea. Being organised is the next one. This comes into having a plan, but also personality, because it comes into the passion for work, because a lot of the time if you have the passion, you won't mind putting in the admin side to be organised. But if you're not organised, like I say, with a passion, it will show to customers, because you might be disorganised for postals, not having all of your boxes organised, not having packaging organised, not having the actual bakes organised. Even when it comes to baking cakes, if you haven't done that due planning, whether it comes to the actual baking of the item, not allowing enough time, so it's rushed, all of those things come into it. And organised can also be your social media, so whether it's your promos that you drop, whether it's the style of your post. So if you haven't put enough effort into the writing of the post, or your stories, or the price list that you make, then it might be reflected to your customers that you haven't put a lot of effort in. So I would definitely say being organised is very, very important. But again, that is a personality trait, so if it isn't something that you do normally, you might have to kind of push yourself to do it, because I'm a very organised person. I like to be organised in both my personal life and my business life, so it just depends if you're that type of person. But if you're not, then just try and make a conscious effort to be more organised, because it will definitely help you in your business and with it growing and all of that. So the next thing we're on to, which is the last one, because I've been talking for so long, so I hope you found this helpful so far. But we are now on to your work. So this is quite specific, and I'm hoping that it will make sense when you put it all together as like 5 separate topics. So your work is very important. So I always say this, I say this to everyone that asks me how I get customers, and the one thing that I think is a clear kind of winner on top of all of these bullet points is practice. So if you don't put enough practice in, it's going to show. You know, if you do a recipe once and then you start selling it to everyone, it's possibly going to show that maybe it's not a good recipe, it doesn't taste that great, or, you know, the actual form of the cake, whether it's spongy or, what's the word, where it's just like really stodgy and solid, dense. You know, there's going to be factors to your recipes, to your decorating, packaging, all of those things. If you haven't practiced, tried a few different things out, even when it comes to like boxes and packaging, I bought so much packaging because I didn't just go with the first one and think, yeah, it's okay, because there are definitely things that work and things that don't. So practice, this comes mainly towards the actual making of your cakes, brownies, whatever you're baking, or making in general, because the more you practice, the more you will get better. It is literally practice makes perfect. You know, when it comes to getting smooth cakes, mine weren't smooth in the beginning, but now they are. It's just the more you do, the more practice you get, the more time you put into it, and also the more effort you put into it, the better they're going to turn out. Then there is have a menu. I think it's so important, because when people look at your profile, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, if you have a rough menu of what you have, because it can be daunting for people to say, you know, hi, can you make me a cake? If they don't know what the kind of etiquette for it is in terms of how they order, then sometimes it can be a bit daunting for them to message you. Obviously, they want to message you because they want the order, but they might be a bit nervous about it. So if you have a set menu on your page of like, right, I do cupcakes, brownies, cakes, here's a rough pricing guide, here's the rough flavours that I do, you know, I do take requests, send me a photo if you want to, then people will go on there and be like, right, okay, all I have to do is say I want a 6-inch cake, I've seen that they start from, you know, £50, and can I have this topper, and can you give me some ideas on the specific design? That'd be great. You know, it helps people out because they don't have to just say, hi, you know, can I order a cake from you? I want it for this date, I don't know how this works. So it's just a bit reassuring if they know, one, how to order. You can have highlights on your Instagram on how to order. I don't currently, but I am trying to update them when I have a bit of time. But yeah, I'm updating my price list and everything so that it is even more clear than it is to have more options on there for a few new products that I have, so that people aren't saying, you know, do you still do these, because they're not on your menu. So I think it's so important to have a rough menu of what you do so that people have an idea, and also to be informative on there, so that people don't necessarily have to ask the question. It's already given to them, because when you have lots of people following you and lots of people ordering, then it just saves that time. So like in your bio, you can have that you're qualified, you've got 5 stars or however many stars you have, hygiene rating. You can say that you're based in Buckinghamshire, but you deliver, you know, within 100 miles, and all that extra information is just an easy way for customers to see the information without necessarily having to ask you for it. Then we have trying new products. So this goes with being unique. If you try new products, it attracts people, because especially if you're trying something that not many people do in your area. So like in my area, not many people do cake pops. So I get a lot of people coming to me for cake pops because they go, you know, you're the only person that does them in the local area, can I order them from you? Whereas if everyone does it, then they can pick and choose, and then they might go for someone that's cheaper or someone that's got slightly different designs. So if you find something that is more unique, then it's more likely that someone is going to come to you. This also works with cakes if your designs are more unique, or you have a recurring theme with your cakes. Like mine, typically I do a lot of drip cakes, so then a lot of the time people come to me for drip cakes. So it just depends on what you make a lot of and what your kind of passion is, what you enjoy making more. So following on from trying new products, I wanted to mention about having themed drops. So things like Mother's Day, Easter, all of the occasions throughout the year, make sure that you're ready and waiting and you have something on the menu that you're going to release, whether it is something as simple as a cupcake box or it is a full-blown treat box and full menu, whether you have, you know, like one option or 4 different ones. Just have something, because then it promotes people to buy, because they think, wow, that'd be lovely for Mother's Day. It's something different to what you normally do because it is themed. So it just gets people a bit excited, it pulls their interest, especially, like I say, if it's something that is unique and different to anyone around you. Then there is also, following on from that, having your own style. So it makes it easy, like I say with the menu, it makes it easy for customers to order, because I only do buttercream cakes, and that is very obvious from my socials. So it means that when a customer looks at my page, they can go, I love her cakes, and I can pick one of them because I like this design, I like that design. There's quite a few varieties of it, and it's also clear to them what I make, because they're not going to be messaging me saying, do you make cupcakes? And I haven't got any on my page. I've got, you know, a variety of things that makes it obvious to them what I do. So then when they then order, it's easy for them, because they know, yes, she does cupcakes, she does brownies, she does this, that and the other. So I think it's good, like I say, to have a menu, because then it makes it clear to someone what you actually make. So that is everything. There are 5 topics, and I hope that that kind of clarified it for people. Like I say a lot, certain times people don't do anything in particular to get customers, and it's just kind of luck of the draw. And, you know, I don't necessarily do all of these things. I do elements of these, but sometimes it's without even realizing. So, you know, sometimes it is just trial and error what works for you, because that might not necessarily work for someone else. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope it does answer some people's questions, and hopefully helps you get some customers if you are struggling. But as always, if you want to message me, feel free to on Instagram. I've started doing YouTube lives, so I think I might do one this week, which is just a Q&A. So if you want to see that, then make sure you comment down below, and I will release a kind of schedule for it. So it's probably going to be like Friday, and it might be at like 8 PM or something. So if you want to see it, then I'll make sure to schedule it so that everyone gets notified. But if you're not subscribed or hitting the bell, then you won't be notified when that comes up. So make sure you do that, and then you'll get a notification as soon as I schedule it, and as soon as I go live, it will give you a little notification to tell you to join. So then you'll be able to join, ask me any questions. But if you can't join that live, then feel free to message me on Instagram, and it's at sweetthingsbyamy, and that's literally it. And you can just message me on there if you have any more questions. But yeah, like I say, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!